See. It's got a delay on it. But it's working.
Yay!
Alright. What's the name of the song?
It's called Desiree. This is back from that album I did called What's Up with Mother Earth. That was way back in, I don't know, 2002.
Do you realize you've known each other for 20 years? That's insane.
That is crazy.
I was a baby.
I didn't realize that you were only 18 when I first met you.
Yeah, it was my freshman year of college. Isn't that wild?
It's like I have that all the time. I get like, these people that I know, why do they all still look so damn young? It's like, that's because they were younger than you all along, dummy. It's like, now I look like this senior citizen and they're...
Yeah, no, you look like a happy... You look happier than when I was working with you.
I am happier than when you were working. And I've learned a lot about being happy. About how you don't have to be satisfied with your life the way it currently is to be happy. You just have to be satisfied that you're moving in the direction that you're supposed to be moving in, and that you're going where you're supposed to be going, and be happy with that.
Alright, can we talk about that?
You sure can.
Yeah, because the theme of this year is beautiful resistance, and the blues plays right into that, so... Oh yeah, okay, I have that up. I'm so excited. Okay, so if you are watching on this screen, this is our first live YouTube. So I hope you can hear me if you are watching. This is a test. I don't know what I'm doing.
This is only a test.
It's a test. So if you happen to be watching on YouTube Live, stick in there and just, I don't know what.
That's good. I make a very good guinea pig.
Yes, you do. So is this a full band that you're playing with right now, or is this all you?
No, it's as typical of my digital stuff. It's written, produced, performed, arranged, mixed, mastered by me.
Band. Awesome. It sounds
A lot of it is samples, and some of it is live. Usually, obviously, the vocals are live. Some of the guitar is me, and some of it is samples. Usually, if there's trumpet solos are me. Sometimes the sections are me, and sometimes it's a sample.
Okay, cool, awesome. I love it.
And feel free to fade in, fade out, however if you.
Okay, no, I kind of know. That would be silly.
This is probably the longest one on.
It's okay. We're giving it on.
Got some of this. I just wanted to put this on there because this is an example of what I did before I went to Full Sail. And then there's there's quite a bit on there from the two albums that I've done while I was at Full Sail. And my brand new single is on there that I just put up on Bandcamp the day before yesterday.
Do we get to debut it? Are you gonna sing it live, or you wanna?
No, it's an instrumental.
Okay. Yay! All right, we got 56 seconds. This is so exciting. I hope that this is YouTube live thing. I hope they can hear. This is my whole thing. Because I don't know how far.
Yeah, you didn't have time to test it ahead of time.
This is it. This is the dry run. Those are mics, what, 2 and 3? Yeah, I can.
That's on you. I don't know what their numbers are. But I do know a Shure SM58 when I see it.
All right, that was a little bit of a prequel to today's guest. I'm so excited. Welcome to Front Porch Radio. I'm Julie Wilder. Today it's going to be about the blues. And as y'all know, if you've been listening, this year our theme for the year is beautiful resistance, and part of beautiful resistance and putting that beauty in the resistance part is celebrating life and playing and enjoying things, because those that would have you be scared and fearful, they like you that way. So part of the resistance is actually enjoying life, embracing happiness and connection and celebration and all of that. And what better way than to discuss the blues, right? So today's guest is a very special person to me personally. We met 20 years ago when I was a baby in college. His name is Vernon Miller. He's a singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist who performs as Vernon, and is first and foremost a lover of songs. He's widely eclectic when it comes to performance genre, but always informed by the blues, and he makes the song shine. Vernon has recently graduated as salutatorian, right on, man, with his master's degree in entertainment business from Full Sail University. But he's still all about the songs. Vernon Miller, welcome to Front Porch Radio.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
It's so good to see you.
We gave each other the biggest freaking hug out there, didn't we? That was awesome.
It took me right back, man, to those old... those Kinko's days.
The Kinko's days. We should tell everyone, since we're bringing up Kinko's immediately. I met you as a bright-eyed, totally naive college freshman. It was 1996. I was 18 years old, and I got a job at the UCF Kinko's, which was right across the street at the time from UCF.
Right, before we moved it down to Waterford Lakes down there.
Yeah, that was big time. And so we met there, and we became kind of unlikely friends, right? Because you were the color copy master. Right.
I kind of made it my business to be the guy that knew about that, because I liked it, and so I sort of zeroed in on it, and then they ended up making a job description out of it.
Yeah, well, you were excellent at it, and that's kind of how we became friends. And then life parts ways. We both went in different directions. I think I got outsourced somewhere, and then Facebook happened, and we reconnected through there. And so this is actually the first time we've seen each other.
Yeah,
in a long time.
Long time.
In a really long time.
One time downtown, it was an activist. It was some type of a political protest, and I can't even remember now what we were protesting.
It was yeah. Right there with each other.
But I always think about you as passionate about the things that you believe in, and always pushing to move those things forward.
Well, I don't know.
We all do what we can.
We all do what we can. Exactly. I've been blessed with kind of a loud mouth.
Me too, luckily.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the blues, because I remember you when we met. You weren't really an active musician at that time, right? Or were you? You were maybe like a closet musician at that point, because you've been in a lot of different bands. But it seems like you were.
I was still. Let's see. Yeah, that was kind of at the tail end of. Blue Shoes was that we did our album, we did our recording, that was in 1990. and then we kept on going for a little while. Then after that, I was still doing Bowl of Soul for a while. I can't. It's hard for me now to remember.
It's been 20
years. What happened exactly when, and it's a strange thing for a musician, and a blues musician in particular. It's a schizophrenic kind of a thing, because there's because you can't, I won't say you can't, it's very, very difficult to make a living doing the blues.
Right.
Most musicians have jobs, day jobs, and it's like you're two different. It's like you're two different people, and especially, I mean, if you're a middle class white guy and you're a blues man, that's another kind of a schizophrenic thing. It's like you have to. It's a fine line, because you have to feel it. It has to come from your heart, but there's a certain amount of things, traditional things, that sort of have to.
You gotta pay the
have
bills.
to be, well, I'm talking also about the music. There's a certain traditional blues things from past blues that kind of have to be melded into that.
Okay.
So, I remember when our Blues Shoes album came out, and one of the magazines that the local music magazines reviewed it, and kind of gave me a little bit of a hard time, because one of the songs that we recorded on there was "I Got My Mojo Working," and of course it's "I Got My Mojo Working," because that's, the reviewer was saying that got on his nerves, that the way that I was pronouncing that, like Muddy did,
right?
And I'm like, well, it's
I
I got my mojo working. It's not, I believe that I have my mojo operational at this time, and I'm going to be using it on you. That's not going to work. It's got to be
right. You got to do it.
It's if you're not really, if you haven't absorbed it yourself before you're trying to kind of put it back out there, then it's just artifice. It's not.
It's not authentic. It's not
exactly. So. That's a whole issue too, which probably don't want to spend a whole bunch of time talking about. But
the struggle is real, the artistic struggle. Because I remember. Do you remember Steve Bow?
Steve Bow, yes, I do.
Bow. Okay, so I remember. Okay,
I remember trying to keep up with him at parties.
Oh my God! If you ever see him telling the story, or Supo, if you're listening, this is your redemption moment, because he was, a DJ and an artist and all these things, and I am like. Super naive college kid. Like, I don't know nothing about nothing. Was raised in a completely conservative family. We were not cultured. There was nothing going on here. Which is why I think I'm so enthusiastic about cultured things, because I was basically deprived my whole life. So I remember having a conversation with him, because he was, like, getting, like, a fine art degree in pottery. And I remember just, like, being, like, pottery. I mean, how are you going to make money doing that? I was that girl. I was that person that was so disconnected from reality. Okay, that was a complete disconnect from reality. But that's the way a lot of people are conditioned.
Right.
But it's also this very real thing of navigating that space. Especially at that time, we didn't have social media for it to be an easily promotable thing. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of...
It's so funny. You almost can't even imagine now,
right?
An America without social media.
Yeah.
And hell, I remember an America
and
without...
SoundCloud and Bandcamp, right?
I remember an America without colored television.
Oh, wow. Burn. I was reading... you're going to tell the story of how you got your name, but I was like, oh, that happened in 1978. That was the year I was born. Vernon was in college.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I started college in 78 at what would become the University of Central Florida, but at that time was Florida Technological University.
What does that even mean? Florida Technological. What
it was there were a lot of engineering students, and science. That it was that
technical school.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, they became the University of Central Florida. And I remember, and my roommate was an engineer and also a musician. But I remember at the time the engineers were just going crazy because all of a sudden the school starts slapping athletic fees on their tuition because they're starting a football team, and they're going.
The engineer's like, what? Huh?
So and then those of us that were there at that time, we had our choice what we wanted on our diploma when we graduated. And, the liberal arts students like myself and that, psychology, all those people said, UCF, that sounds great. And the engineers were like, Florida Technological University. But now, that's another kind of thing that's crazy is the actual value added that a football team gives to an educational institution, which is real,
tangible.
But why? That's that whole. I'm not. Let's not go off on a whole.
I'm going to go on a feminist.
But you know exactly what I'm saying. It actually adds value because of the additional recognition that it gives to the school, and that whole thing. But 78.
78. So tell us, how did you come up? Because I was like, Vernon. I know what that means, but I think I had it wrong.
Well, kind of a dual thing, and it was, as a matter of fact, in 1978 when I started at FTU. I got a job in the snack bar on campus. Food service company that was running the snack bar. And so basically I was a short order cook. And, it was 1978. I was also a party animal.
Naturally.
And, along with many of my friends and many of my, luckily everybody didn't walk around with a camera then like they do now too. That's another aspect. But yeah, so, occasionally I'd be doing my job and trying to get somebody's, lunch, somebody's order done. Well, I'd always be doing my job, but occasionally one of my friends or coworkers would go, I think we need to take out some trash now. Go out back for a little while. So, okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do that. And I'd be out back and I'd be thinking, oh crap, I forgot. I had burgers on the grill. So, my manager, her name was Pixie. She was a really cool person. But she's the one that coined the name Burnin, and that's where it came from. So, yes, it means that, but it also doesn't mean that.
So you were burning both ends.
All my life, burning the candle at both ends, baby. That's why I look like this now.
Oh man. Okay. Well, so let's take a second and focus on the music, because you and me, we're gonna laugh and talk a whole bunch. But let's talk about the song that we opened up the show with. Tell us a little bit about
that. Is the song's called Desiree, and it's just a digital production. At that time, I was an early adopter of what they call a DAW, which is Digital Audio Workstation, the program that allows you to record and make a bunch of different tracks and mix them together in your computer.
Which was probably...
And I started that back in like 2001. I mean, it was started in the 90s, but it really didn't start
trickling down.
And nowadays, everybody has a studio in their bedroom. But the one I started with, that was called, the software was called Acid Pro.
I think I remember that.
and it was the Sonic Foundry was the company that made it, but Sony eventually bought it over from them. And there was they had a website called Acid Planet, where those
we
of
don't
us
know what they were doing.
well, it was named after the software,
Right.
and the people that used it would post their music up there for the other people. You know, when you would give criticism or complimenting or whatever on people's music and rate it, and they had a whole chart thing going on with it, and it was that was like the social media at that time.
Yeah, I mean, it was
for those musicians.
It was creating a community,
and also eventually it got to where it was a sort of a platform for internet collaboration, which the guitar solo that was on that song was done by one of my friends on Acid Planet, and he's halfway across the country. I sent him the track. He put it in the software. He played the guitar part and sent me back just the guitar part, and I mixed it in. And
wow.
That's
you were really a pioneer in the Renegade international, maybe national collaboration, early adopting. Wow.
But it and it grew. I did a lot of that kind of collaboration, and as over period of time, and I made several. You can call them albums. I mean, they're sitting on my computer. You know,
right.
And a few of my friends have CDs, but I forgot where I was going with that. But
the song, the first
song. That song was one of my very first really what I consider to be a really good collaborative effort by people who've never actually met.
Wow.
And I thought that is really cool. But then over time, it's developed in kind of a schizophrenia, because you get to where you're doing this music by yourself, basically. It's just me. I'm the one that's doing it and the whole thing, and it's all me. And then it's like, okay, well, pick up your guitar and play songs for people. Go out and play music. And somehow now your music has two completely different
sounds. Yeah, because I asked you, I was like, hey, is this the whole band backing you? And you were like, no. And so tell everyone, like, how do you construct that?
Well, it depends on what sparks you and what's happening at the time. I might have an idea for a song and some snippets of lyric, and then go looking for a melody, or I might be just have the software open and throw up some bass and drum loops, and hear something that sounds like a groove and put that together and start from there. It just depends on what's happening at the time, but it's built up from, at that time was built up from just samples, and then put together a framework of the samples, and then piece together the song structure by cutting and pasting everything until you've got, okay, this is going to be the song structure, and then you keep layering on top of it from there. Nowadays in the software, they actually have, it's gotten so advanced that in Logic, they have what's called a drummer track. And you choose from a list of 7 or 8 of their digital drummers, and each one has 7 or 8 groove styles.
Okay.
And you choose that, and then you can choose how busy you want it to be, how much you want it to swing, how much fills you want, and poof, it's a MIDI drum track. Right there.
Isn't that
not just tiny pieces, parts from drums that are, no, it's a drummer.
Right. That's incredible. I had no idea.
So it makes things. It's
kind of fun. It's like a musical puzzle song.
Right. So now it's a lot easier to come, if you can pick something like that you think is going to come close to what you want for your song, string that out, play it, and play along with it. So if you just to lay down your chord structure or whatever. So there's a jillion different ways it can go, or it can be a song that I sat down and wrote on my guitar. And that's what would be, then you would lay a drum track down, play and sing the song, and then go back to the drum track and put bass or whatever in and change it as to be exactly what you want.
So you described this as kind of a schizophrenic experience because you have your digital version of
right.
Burnin,
but if I go out and do a show right now, I'm solo. It's
right.
just Burnin. It's me, like you see me here.
Right.
And it has absolutely nothing to do whatsoever with that music.
Right.
It'll be a Jimmy Buffett song or a blues or that kind of or an old country song or that kind of thing, because it doesn't have anything to do with that, with the trumpet, with the instrumental trumpet stuff or the highly produced. So I'm trying to figure out a way,
a middle ground,
to tie that in. Maybe I can make some. I'm in the process of making a few tracks, backing tracks from those that I've done before to maybe sing along with. But I don't want too much of that because that's karaoke. Yeah. So maybe just a little bit worked in to try to tie those things together and make it less like schizophrenic. I probably shouldn't use that word because it's
a perfectly fine word. There's so much stigma against mental illness these days. Sometimes it creates some beautiful art. So we're good with it. All right, I'm going to remind everyone, if you're tuning in, you're listening to Front Porch Radio. I'm Julie Wilder. I'm here with my very good friend, Vernon Miller. He has been in several bands throughout times. Name some. Give us some names.
Local bands I've been in. I was in Blues Shoes. I was in the Bowery Boys. I was in a band. I had after Blues Shoes, I was running a band called Bowl of Soul. I played with, did a lot of charity work with a band called Full Circle Spirit with my friends Laurel and Jeff Gutterman Van Treese. He passed about 2 years ago now. And let's see, I played with Catfish Charlie. I've been in. I've hosted blues jams.
Just keeping it.
I've been all around this town.
So let's take it, because it's already. I can't believe we've been talking because we love each other so much. It's already 4:30, and I want to hear you sing a song now.
You want to hear me sing a song?
And then we'll talk some more.
Okay.
So what do you want to?
How about, since we're talking about the blues, one of the things I love about the blues is that it's the basis of everything. I mean, the blue country, it's the basis of country. It's the basis of jazz. It's the basis of so much of American music. One of my very favorite bluesmen was a jazz guy. His name was Mose Allison, and he wrote some really great songs. And we just lost him last year too.
Oh man, last year was
like
a bummer.
they're all. And now, God, I was so devastated about Chuck Berry, man. But anyhow, I'm going to do a Mose Allison song that's very, very appropriate for. I think this is good for Beautiful Resistance. This song is called "Ever Since the World Ended."
All right, here we go.
Ever since the world ended, I don't get out as much. People that I once befriended, they just don't bother to stay in touch. Things that used to seem so splendid, they just don't seem to matter today. Just as well the world ended. It was wasn't working anyway. Ever since the world ended, there's no more Bible Belt. Remember how we all pretended, just going round lying about the way we felt. All the rules have been amended, and there's no one keeping score. Just as well the world ended, we couldn't have taken much more. Ever since the world ended, no more black and white. Ever since we all got blended, there's no more reason to fuss and fight. Dogmas that we once defended, they just no longer seem worthwhile. Ever since the world ended, I face the future with a smile.
You knew I was going to love that one. You knew it. You know me so well.
I love Mose Allison. His wit and his his sense of humor was just amazing. He wrote a whole bunch of really, really great songs.
Yeah, he did. So why the blues? What's it's like a magnet for you, right?
Yeah, that's kind of like I was saying before, because it goes in so many directions. You know, it's so much of country music is blues based, and I love a bunch of those old songs, or like and jazz. I'm crazy about. So there's almost nowhere that you can't go with it. You know, it's basically just a framework and a state of mind.
Right. And it's also, for me, like when we were talking about like beautiful resistance, it's like taking some, life isn't always pretty.
Exactly.
Right? And so how do we find a way to express ourselves, and to have an outlet and a kind of a healing modality and sing the blues, man?
That's what works for me.
Right.
And it's, kind of, I kind of got it secondhand, because when I was coming up, it was the Beatles and the Stones and the Animals, and, that whole thing was going on, and they were the ones that were into the old blues guys. Mm. So you got into them, and you thought, where's that coming from? And then you go, oh, Muddy Waters, Willie Dixon, yeah. And then of course there was Chuck Berry, who we just lost, but he lived to be 90, so it's not like oh, so sad he died so soon, but he was one of a kind. I posted like a Chuck Berry song every day for a week on my Facebook page, but one of the ones that I posted just totally cracked me up. It was him. He was on Soul Train, and Chuck Berry, he was notorious for there was no Chuck Berry band. Mm. He used pickup bands because his stuff was simple, and it was like, everybody played Chuck Berry songs anyway. So this was from 1972. It was Chuck Berry on Soul Train with a pickup band playing Rollin' Pete, which he described as his new song, his new record that wasn't even out yet. who has that kind of stones?
Like, this is how we're
I mean, who can get away with that?
Right. Chuck Berry, apparently. Chuck Berry, who lived to be over 90. That's pretty incredible.
He had a pretty much roller coaster kind of a life too, but music as we know it, rock and roll as we know it, would not be what it is without him.
Right.
And Elvis Presley had a lot to do with it too, but that was from another standpoint. But they were both they got the white kids into it.
Right, well.
Which is what it took economically at the time to make it happen. Yeah, I know.
We all go into it.
It's these subjects that we don't like to discuss.
But, it's an ongoing thing. And to be able to be able to express it through music, I think is a really important thing. Because, especially, now we wake up and we see that there's still stuff happening in the world, right? So finding that way, I know, like we talked a little bit about happiness before the show started, and you said something really, I thought that was really insightful. Can you share that?
Well, I said that you can't let your circumstances dictate your happiness. You can't. You have to. Every time I start to say this, I think about this crazy song by King Crimson called "To Be Happy, You Have to Be Happy with What You Have to Be Happy With." But what the point that I was trying to make is you don't have to be happy with your current circumstances to be happy. You just have to be satisfied that you know what you want, that you're moving toward what you want, and doing reasonably everything that you expect yourself to be doing to get there, and be happy with that journey. And you can still be happy without feeling like I'm not successful yet, so I can't be happy. Right. Because that's self-defeating.
Well, it's also like, gosh, everybody else has a definition of success, right?
Right.
And that kind of brings me back to, first of all, what did you go to the FCU, UCF / what was your degree back then?
Liberal studies.
Liberal studies, one of the names.
I had a degree in using up my GI benefits. They literally ran out the month I graduated.
Okay, so you were having a paid party, right?
Right. It's not like the my recent studies were much more, but I did get out of UCF with a 3.02.
Right.
So it's not it's not like, oh, send up a rocket, but it's not like, oh my God. I
think that's what I had to. I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna strive for the A because that's just a waste of time.
But more recently, I'm at Full Sail. I was all about the grades. Well, I had an associate degree in recording engineering, and then I went on for the bachelor's in recording arts, and then I went for the master's. So in both of my undergraduate degrees at Full Sail, I was valedictorian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I missed that memo. Well, and so that's kind of what I wanted to kind of bring light to, because you decided later in life to re-enter and to follow what are clearly your passions, but to really refine and get a much deeper experience.
Right.
With
well, that has to kind of do with what we were just talking about, because it reached a point where it's like, okay, well, I'm no longer on the path. This have your day job and work the music. The music got less and less, and the day jobs got crappier and crappier and crappier until I got screwed out of a paycheck and fired from a less than stellar phone room job, and I finally just said, and I'm like $60,000 in student debt now, but Do I care? No, I don't, because I'm now, and I'm almost broke too. But I'm on the path that I need to be on.
And everybody else.
I'm on the path that I need to be on. I'm satisfied that I'm now again moving in the direction that I'm supposed to be moving in.
And it's. I've been using the word calling lately, because it's like having a purpose and which is very different for many people, right?
Sure.
The way that I am on purpose is very different from the way that other people are on purpose, but it's still like what is crafted for you, and so to kind of be on that path of your calling and using music and songs to, I don't know, what is your primary, is it just for the pleasure of it? Is it for the to entertain other people? Because everyone kind of comes at music for.
Well, it's both, but it's like once you get a taste of that, going up on stage and putting a lot into a performance, and then getting that feedback from a really, really strong positive feedback from an audience. You get that one time. That's like the juice. It's like you go, oh, I got to have some more of that. And it never,
It's like you're a musical magician.
So, it's a challenge, like I said, especially in the blues. And it takes, to make a living at it takes a certain level of commitment, which frankly, I've never quite. You have to be willing to just totally gamble everything.
Either that or have a rich parent.
Well, yeah, somebody that can, one way or another, you have to have the support.
Right.
And so, now I feel like I'm back on track. I'm really hopeful that I will be able to, my goal is actually to be employed at Full Sail and to do my SupaSoul Productions is the name of my music business, and to work that as my side hustle.
Right.
And a lot of, that's what a lot of folks that work at the university, that's what they do.
Right.
That's
they partial
because it's a really
partial.
good base of operations. Plus, I'm also passionate about learning, and so I love the opportunity to help other people who want to learn, because that's one of the most valuable things you can possibly do while you're here. Why does your spirit want to be trapped in this body if you're not going to bother to learn anything?
Right. Well, and obviously you have that curiosity with your early adoption of the technologies and figuring out how to do these song puzzles within the computer. So, you know what? I want to get in. You said you just debuted a song. The new single.
You want to play the new single? That's After Party.
Yeah, let's do that because I want to talk about it after we play it. So,
I tell you, the influences on this is I'm trying to get a little bit of since it's almost like EDM is trying to take over the planet. That's electronic dance music for those of you that aren't into that acronym. So there's a little bit of that flavor in it, and my idol is Herb Alpert, so there's a little of that flavor in there too. I'm trying to do make my own genre. I'm inventing a new genre. Because I'm Burnin Vernon.
You're Vernon. You can do what you want. All right, here we go. This is the radio debut. It's After Party, right? Track 8.
Right.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Oh yeah. It's not that loud in the room, but it's level of music. Ooh, this is good. that you and trumpet? I like it. It's great too because it's like you don't have to like you can just create what you want with this process instead of like having to like get other people
Right.
to do, you know. Like,
That's another part of it because that's parts can be enjoyable, but can also be
right.
But if I only have myself to work with, that's good too. But then I only have myself to blame.
Yeah, it's somewhat limited, right? So what parts do you play? Trumpet? Is that drum track you're talking about?
Yeah. Plus other percussion and drum stuff layered on top. I play guitar and trumpet mainly, and I'm not a keyboard player, but I know theory, so I can.
If you guys need headphones,
I got some. I think some band. Yeah.
okay, just making sure.
Appreciate it. Because I just took them out of here, so I wanted to make sure you guys weren't.
I'm just trusting that if you can hear me, then it's all good.
I can hear you. I'm so excited that this live thing is working. It's very cool. I'm so glad that you're getting good to it. I hope the sound is good. I probably need to get another mic to bring everything.
Right. Oh yeah. Because it's only picking up through the.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not going to sound that great.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out, and then the next time.
But is there a recording of the show?
There is one in there.
So theoretically, that could be synced.
Theoretically, will I do that? No.
I mean, it could be done.
Right. Yeah.
I could do it.
Right. See, I'm not at all talented. I can barely upload a podcast a day.
I can take a video into Pro Tools and line up a soundtrack
Right.
to it
Yeah.
if they're already.
Yeah, it's just one track. Right?
All it has to do is find where the sync is.
Right.
I mean, if it was a whole bunch of different ones, that's a lot of more work.
Yeah.
I could do that in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the easiest possible way to get something up there, because right now it's a podcast, but it's on a computer and I'm putting it on a thumb drive, and then I have to go home, which has really low internet speed, and upload it and do all of this stuff, you know. So this is cool because I just hit live and then it just gets up afterwards. Like I don't just go, you know. So that would be my preference. So I would, if I can, if all I do is invest in like a microphone on the line, like that would be good. That would be the versus below. All right, that was the latest from Vernon. Our good friend Vernon Miller.
Available right now on Bandcamp.
You know, let's talk about that for a second, because as someone who, you know, did grow up at the time and the place that you did, and seeing all these technology changes, I mean, I see you every day. You have a practice. I don't know if it's every day, but frequently you're posting, you know, what is it, YouTube or something like that, where you're doing
I have a YouTube channel, and lately I've been doing the weekly Vernon videos. It's like I pick a song that has recently caught my attention for whatever reason, and just do a video of myself solo,
right,
doing a little, you know, acoustic version. I've got the process down where I can do it in my in my bedroom with my laptop and my Pro Tools.
Right.
So it's enjoyable, and it helps keep my fan base, for lack of a better terminology, in touch with with where I'm at and what I'm doing, and then I also post them on my YouTube
Right.
channel, which is actually, I think that's under SupaSoul Productions. But I've just, like in the last couple of days, got my Bandcamp site all caught up. I've got both of the digital albums that I created going while I was going to Full Sail. They're both up there, and the new single is up there. And so, $7 minimum investment in either of the albums, or at least $1 on the single, and anybody that wants to can contribute to the help Vernon pay his rent.
Because as of yet, we have not made the transformation from going, valuing artists and artistry the way maybe that it should be. That
is the ultimate challenge nowadays. A lot of people want to cry and moan about the passing of the industry, of the music industry as we know it. There's not any point to that. You can do what you can do, and yes, there's a little bit of difficulty in monetizing nowadays. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is nowadays that a musician has to be willing to get his income from 15 or 20 different places, and they have to be a business manager.
Right. Yeah, it's the gig economy, and luckily there are. I mean, before Bandcamp, right, and these other sites. You would have to physically be there to do a CD sale. And
CD sales are only happening now at shows.
Right.
I mean, for the most part, for indie musicians. Mm-hmm. Yes, Rihanna can still sell. Right. Jay-Z can sell CDs, but there's only a double handful of people that can really.
Right. It's all in the merch.
Yeah.
It's all in the merch.
Right. It sells as merch. That's exactly right.
Right. Yeah.
And the people that care about you, mm-hmm. that are the ones that come to see you, and they're the ones that will buy your music. Otherwise, why? And I'm still this close, but I haven't been able to force myself to make the commitment to stream my stuff.
What do you mean stream it?
To put it on whatever you
like
call it, iTunes.
Oh.
For what's the main one that's the app that everybody listens to? Anyhow,
I need a clue.
Where they pay you about
Spotify.
Spotify.
Pandora.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Where they pay you about 1/1,000,000 of a cent.
Right.
For
I earned a whole dollar
for playing your song.
Right.
But somebody goes on there,
mm-hmm.
and they're just messing around, and they hear it and they like it, and you get a fan from that.
Right. It's exposure.
I understand it. It's
mm-hmm.
just like, it's like I'm still so old school about. Well, I really would like it if people would buy my music. So why do I want to go over here and in essence give it away?
Right.
Because nowadays that's kind of what you have to do. So I probably will end up doing that. I just haven't.
Get the inner.
I haven't quite gotten there yet.
Right.
But I understand the popularity of it. But I'm so strongly old school. It also has to do with those of us that are older like to own our music.
Right. You don't want to give up your agency.
And young people today are like, why would you want to have that? Why do you need to carry that around? They don't even want CDs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you like the physical.
They can go to Spotify and play whatever they want.
Right.
So why do they need to have a collection? but
I promise I still have my CD collection. Yours is in it.
and that's
I can't bear to part with
it. I'm good with that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of older musicians like myself are still not. They're struggling with that, and they tend to resent young people for that, even if they don't realize that they do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like photography when it went digital. It's just like, it's just, and it really isn't like the other, but
Yeah, it's the same. The idea.
Right.
It's the same kind of idea.
So I hate to tell you this. It's 5:01.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that? I
Man.
just wanted to never end.
Can we start over?
We'll have to have you back another time. Where can people find your music? Where's the best source for
well, the best place.
Exploration?
First of all, you want to find me on Facebook. I'm Vernon Miller on my Facebook profile, and there's a Vernon page. So you can hook up there, and then you can look up Vernon on Bandcamp, which I recommend for everybody. Not necessarily Vernon, but Bandcamp.
Right.
Is an excellent site to find indie music. And normally the way it works is when you find someone's music, you can listen several times for free. And then if you decide you like it, each artist decides how much free listening can go on. But normally it's about, you can play like up to 3 times for free.
Right.
And then, it'll cut you off and say, if you like it, buy it.
Right. And if you do like it, I mean...
Why wouldn't you want to support an indie artist now? Because...
Hey.
It's hard.
The hustle, man.
It's hard in this world.
That's what it seems to be, everyone. Thank you so much. We have to sign off right now, which I hate doing. But, Vernon, it was so great to come.
I really enjoyed it.
And to hear your laugh. It is amazing. This was live streamed on YouTube. This is my dry run with this, and I don't know if it worked. I mean, I can see it's recording, but I don't know if the sound is traveling over there, so we'll let you know. We're trying new things, exploring new technology.
There you go. That's all about it in today's world.
You gotta keep going.
Keep up with the technology or
bust.
fall behind.
Exactly. All right. Thank you so much, Vernon.
Thank you, Julie.
Absolutely. You guys stay tuned. Up next is something fantastic. Rob should be in the studio in a second now. I don't know why it's not.
They probably maybe they switched something back
I'm
over.
wondering.
She's giving a thumbs up. So it's good, whatever.
Whatever it is on it, that's good. All right, let me sign off on this thing. Okay. All right, thanks everyone.